Good day! I hope you are all doing safe. Welcome to a new discussion. The chapter 2 is the discussion of workplace. Our objectives for this session are: first, to understand the nature of a workplace. Second, to identify the different forces shaping the future of the workplace landscape. And lastly, to appreciate the different factors that affect ethical behavior in the workplace. 2 years from now, you will graduate from your degree and will be working in a corporate setting. For sure, you are dreaming to work in your ideal company. Also, you have something in mind: what kind of office, its physical setup, the people whom you will be working with, and the system of operation you will be following. Are you dreaming to work in a traditional office or a modern office like in Google company? Working overseas? Or perhaps working remotely? These work setups can be understood in learning the nature and concept of a workplace. Workplace is basically defined as a place where people are employed and customarily does one's work. But more than being a setting where you can see people working, communicating, and functioning, there are a lot of forces that make up a so-called workplace. It could be a place which consists of people that connects through distance, where the company uses different technologies, or a place that's shaped by its culture. Let's discuss the forces individually. The first force is place. Workplace is about the physical space, its design, and arrangement of the office. It is the right of every employee to have a safe and comfortable working environment. Employee must be able to move safely and conveniently while performing their duties. The second force is the people. People is the second and the most important consideration in building a workplace. The human being who does the functions at work. It is the diversity of personality, race, beliefs, and culture. Among the 5 forces, people is the most challenging to manage since they are the feeling, thinking individuals with different upbringings. The third force is transport. Transport shall be considered to be an essential force. It is where the office is located and whether it is accessible to people, because usually when it is too far or remote, it is another burden to employees to transport and incur additional expenses. Technology are tools that offer up great mobility to be a catalyst for changing the way we work. These are modes and mediums that could benefit people at work to perform functions easier and promote flexibility. To successfully accomplish given tasks, company must invest to technology to make a more systematic processes favorable to the effort of employees and could save a lot of budget for companies. The last force is the culture. It is formed from the exchange practices of the people inside the workplace and influenced by the other 4 forces. Company culture is formed and become the identity of the organization. These 5 forces play together to create a workplace, a system or a place of working together with people and resources to achieve a common goal. Inside the workplace, there should be ethics. It is a determinant of what is right and what is wrong in the circulation of functions of the workplace. And this must be followed to execute common ways and attitudes at work. It is translated into policies and standards. And to understand what is ethical, employees must know first what is the norm of the workplace. Norm is synonymous with the terms standards, values, protocols, policies, guidelines, and practices. Norms dictate workplace ethics and encourage staff to behave in a certain ways. It is a structure or path of what people to follow. Without it, companies would have a greater difficulty in maintaining a socially and psychologically healthy environment. In other words, if you don't act accordingly, then you are not following the norms. You are exactly violating the standards. The ethical principles of an organization were derived originally from three major ethical principles: the utilitarianism, the ontology, and egoism. Utilitarianism promotes actions that maximizes happiness and well-being for majority. It reminds companies that in making policies, it should give delight or somehow favorable to the well-being of employees. For example, a policy that is based in utilitarianism, reward management, wherein employees must be good at work, must perform well, should accomplish and perform beyond expectation, and in return, employees can receive rewards from the management. The next ethical principle is the ontology. The ontology highlights man's needs to reap a perceived value of doing what's considered a social and moral obligation. The ontology values social work and will help others. Inside the organization, management promotes coaching and mentoring. That people should extend help to co-employees to be able to correct wrongdoings and improve cooperation and coordination. The last ethical principle is egoism. It gives people permission to consider what benefits their personal needs. Organizations should prioritize the development of its people, sending them to training, advocate scholarly activities, and promote social responsibilities through education and services, whether it is internal or external. When ethical principles are formed, it should be practiced in three different levels. The first level is compliance level. It shall be practiced to help the company to stay within the law. There are laws and regulations that must be followed, and even securing for permits and certifications. This also ensures every investor and even clientele that company operations are following precautionaries of government regulations. It should also expected that ethical principles are extended to customers, to vendors, stockholders, and to the communities in general. What the stakeholders see, the public sees, and the companies seen by general public that affect the ethics. If customers are aware that the company is ethical, then the trust and confidence of customers increases and market gets higher. And most importantly, ethical work must be instilled to each employee, because they will be the ones who will practice the simplest function and will follow certain guidelines to maintain proper practices and protocols inside the workplace. As a manager, you should also know the reasons why people work or their motivations of working. Basically, an adult is expected to work, and at the same time, people needs earning. And people at work must be studied so that managers would be able to know how they behave. Because once a manager knows their motivation and attitude, it would be easier for them to come up with programs that will motivate them more. And that is through application of organizational psychology that aims to bring knowledge about human behavior at work. The question now is, if workplace is the setting where people work together, where can we now see or study the interaction of individuals and the system of structures that is essential to build a workplace? Yes, it can be seen in the system of organization. Organization is a social entity that is made up of people that agree on and people work together towards goals. It is designed to have structures and coordinated systems that includes the hierarchy of authority and responsibilities. Imagine this diagram is the system of organization. A system has its forces and influenced by several factors such as environmental demands, business strategies, business performance, and the culture in general. However, the changes happen in the workplace due to different kinds of landscape of the workplace. It is also includes the demographics of the workers due to different ages, races, cultures, and many more. It is caused by three major forces. The first one is globalization. It is characterized by increasing ease of movement of trade and information in the global market. It causes major competitions among corporations that led the redundancy and retrenchment. The second force is technology. Due to modernization, this development has helped make organization more efficient and innovative and improve the capacity not only to survive but to be competitive as well, that allow organization to participate in global competition. And the third one is economics. It measures the demands and supplies on production due to high consumptions of the consumers. Government revenue also influences in economics. It changes the perspective of the workplace because the higher the demand, the higher the manpower needs. Let's move now to another highlight. In understanding workplace, you should also know how we Filipino workers feel about the change. According to studies, Filipino tends to have higher incidence of stress. There is this feeling of insecurity, or in Tagalog, sense of matabang. A sense of optimism in a positive way, freedom, and autonomy that animates to those who are able to adapt and learn quickly. However, the good thing is, Filipinos are commendable with its values of being. We Filipinos has this power of distance, wherein we can work even away from our own land. Individualism or collectivism, wherein we Filipino can work independently or in a group. Masculinity or femininity, it is all about equality. There is equality wherein female workers are flexible even working men's work, and vice versa. Men can also do female works. Uncertainty avoidance, where Filipino find ways to avoid doubts and conflicts and focus on the goal. And lastly, long-term orientation, wherein we Filipino can work with minimal supervision. In short, we are able to keep instructions in mind for a long time. In summary, workplace is a place where an organization is being constructed to practice management. There are 5 forces that form a workplace: place, people, transport, technology, and culture. These 5 forces serve as basis for creating norms and workplace ethics that is usually translated into policies. It is basically derived from 3 principles: utilitarianism, deontology, and egoism. However, changes are present that shape up the workplace. It is caused by 3 major factors: globalization, technology, and economics. The end part of the lecture highlighted what kind of workers Filipino are. It is also included their weaknesses and strengths. This is the end of Chapter 2, Workplace. If you have concerns, clarifications, do not hesitate to approach me. Thank you so much for listening and keep safe, everyone.